Welcome to the Traitor a Traitors podcast. I'm Matthew, a writer working in unscripted TV development, and this podcast is dedicated mainly to English-speaking versions of The Traitors, although we have also covered The Traitors India and a couple of other strategy reality shows, like Netflix's Million Dollar Secret and ITV's Genius Game. This season of the podcast is dedicated to The Traitors Canada Season 3. We will be recapping every episode, analysing the gameplay, the tactics and the strategy. And today I will be joined by not one, but two co-hosts. Let's find out why. David, welcome back, and Dillon, welcome. What a treat to have you here. Dillon, you were a contestant on Season 2 of The Traitors Canada, and since Karine herself is dishing out spoilers left, right and centre about previous seasons, I feel we can be very open about your fate on Season 2. You, coincidentally, made it 5 episodes, I believe, until you were murdered by a very unusual method. Remind us, Dillon.
I thought you were going to say by a very unusual man, which
Well,
is
that
also
too.
true. But yeah,
Dillon, tell us about your demise in episode 5.
Hi, everyone. Well, thank you for having me on the pod. Yeah, Matthew, when you asked me to be on episode 5, I was like, what does he know that I don't? And what you knew, I guess you just sensed it happening, was that a murder in plain sight was going to happen. And you know my theory, or maybe you've heard my theory before, that only hot people are murdered in plain sight. So Thompson is just continuing in that tradition of, yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was actually pretty interesting to see, like, that traditional handshake or kiss or, glass be kind of switched up and have it be totally different with pretty much everybody being brought to that graveyard, which is a new set piece that they've added this season that I think is pretty great. And then, yeah, I mean, I kind of was like, no way are they going to ever recruit Thompson in silence without discussing anything. So for me, I just knew what the Traitors and how Coco has been playing and how Venus has been playing, that a recruitment was never going to happen. But having met Thompson at the premiere party, I was so sad to see him go because I think he's actually been a really nice addition to the show.
Yeah, it's a shame we won't see any more of him.
now wait a minute, Dillon. Are you suggesting that the cemetery is not real? I thought everything on the Traitors was real.
You know what? I might know where the cemetery is, having been to the manor before, and I can confirm that there wasn't a cemetery last year, so maybe a lot of dead bodies were buried in the past year, and they had to create a cemetery.
Yes. And David, some people may just be joining us because Dillon's here and they want to hear that, so they might not know who you are. Tell us who you are, David.
Well, yes, I suspect most people know me, but for those who don't, I've been covering reality TV for over 25 years, including for over 10 years on podcasts, and before that on newspapers, on websites, you name it. And of course, I also post reality TV videos on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram as @DavidBloombergTV.
Yes. And we are going to be talking about episode 5 of The Traitors Canada today. Before we dive right into it, I've got some listener comments and thoughts about the previous episode. I do want to ask you a question right now, Dillon, though, just to sort of, ease us in. You're in this unique position of watching a show that you've been on the inside of. Does that ruin the illusion a little? Are you still able to enjoy it as a viewer?
You know what? I will say it does. There's not many reality TV shows that I wanted to be on in particular, but as soon as I started The Traitors, I was like, I love this series. I need to be on it. So it's been an amazing opportunity to, be a part of the Traitors family. And I've gotten to meet the UK people and other countries. New Zealand Season 2, which has been one of my favorite. And I got to, meet Jane and who was the traitor? That's the guy that played his his hand a little too hard. Mike, maybe?
It was Mike, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to meet him, and so it's been amazing to be part of the Traitors family. And so this, it's just the next season, the next series, the next, cast of people on the show. So that's been cool. But I will be honest, I haven't watched the Celebrity UK version just because I mean, obviously I wasn't on the UK version, but like, it makes me sad that I'll never get to do it again, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I highly recommend the celebrity version. It was great fun. David and I have just finished recapping that big finale episode. I do have more questions I want to ask you along the way, Dylan, during a recap.
Of
First,
course.
let's talk about those listener comments. I have a message from Lucy Lou on YouTube because David, you and I, we talked obviously about the round table last time, and I think we were both confused about Coco's vote for Omar rather than just voting for Kevin to sort of try and save herself. We got some clapback on this. Lucy Lou said, Coco's vote for Omar says a lot to me about her strategy to look as faithful as possible and her extreme guile. She's watching Kevin become unhinged, reads the room, but decides that she wants none of his taint or any whiff of potential traitor-on-traitor violence. Her vote for Omar is to distance herself from Kevin. She deliberately cast a wrong vote. It can be explained away because Omar did single her out a bit. Also, Owlet16 on Spotify said, from my understanding, Coco voted Omar because she doesn't want it to come off as traitor on traitor, same sort of thing. Brackets obviously didn't work though. So yes, I sort of commented back on YouTube and chatted to Lucy about this. And I'm still confused.
I'm just surprised that we've got Lucy Lou commenting on.
Well, yes. Spelled slightly differently, so not Lucy.
Okay,
Unless it's Lucy Lou in disguise by changing the spelling, but I still wonder why, if I was in a situation at the round table and I thought I was potentially about to be banished, I wouldn't just do whatever it took to save myself. But I guess some people...
Oh, I think it was genius. I thought like Coco was doing a great job at to me, I find Coco doing a great job of selling herself as a faithful. So I thought that was part of the angle, is like, I'm a faithful, I know nothing. I don't even know that Kevin is a traitor. Therefore, my vote is going to some random person to try to set up a seed. That was genius.
I guess.
I mean, I think it definitely helps her this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We couldn't see it coming, but we heard some people talking about that later on. We'll discuss it, but I do think so. It's a risk. It is a risky way to play. You don't know how those votes are going, and we've seen one vote be the difference. Mm-hmm. So it is a risk, and she ended up rolling the dice, and they came up in her favor. So good for her in that case.
Yes. I have a comment on YouTube from Zeitger, faithful listener. Zeitger gave me a lot of context on Kevin. I'm just going to read a little bit of it here. And David and Dylan, you probably know more about Kevin than I do, but I found this quite useful. Zeitger says, so I have some more context on Kevin. He played on BB Canada, and Big Brother has almost 24/7 live feeds. From watching that season, in conjunction with frequent podcast appearances Kevin has made, he's actually a very chill, quieter guy. He even played in, David, you will know this, that Rob has a podcast, Traitors, where I believe he was pretty quiet and unceremoniously banished early, in large part due to his reputation. I think Kevin came into the season with the mindset of, I'm not winning, so instead of trying to optimize my game, I want to be a villain who people love to hate. And David, you said something similar. And if you could read, Zeitger wrote a lot more than that on YouTube, so check it out if you want to know more about Kevin and his background. That was just sort of quite helpful for me. She's a doozy on YouTube made a comment that just made me laugh. We were talking about Kevin. Remember when he was banished? At first he couldn't stand up, and he was saying his legs really hurt. And we were sort of saying, was that real? Was he kidding? She's a doozy said...
Well, you were saying that. I knew it was real, but you were saying that.
I was saying that. Okay, I'll take credit. I'll take the blame, sorry. She's a doozy says... He probably is dehydrated since traitors now have to avoid ever taking a drink of water lest they appear suspicious. So, good point.
I will say we saw Coco take a drink of water at this round table too.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I was like, that's it. Get rid of her.
Yes. More listener questions I have saved for later in the episode, but David and Dylan, it's time for us to get into episode 5 of Traitors Canada Season 3. Dylan, do you trust me to do that?
I trust you.
Whoa! Big mistake, Dylan. I thought
bye.
you
Bye. On, Dylan. Bye.
You're my favorite hobbit.
to recap last time, it was really all about Kevin, let's be honest. He decided to blow up the whole season, in his words. Little did he know he was blowing it up in his own face. He turned on Coco at round table, he wanted to, go traitor on traitor, resulting in the players actually banishing their first traitor, not Coco, but Kevin. And also, in my opinion, resulted in Coco probably being completely screwed over, since players like Jericho have realised what Kevin was trying to do. The episode finished with either a face-to-face murder or recruitment, as Venus and Coco limited the players in the cemetery down to Thompson. And we start off still in the graveyard, and it's kind of a repetition of what we saw last time, I think. Venus and Coco are still unclear on what the other person wants because they can't really speak without Thompson hearing them. And we cut to breakfast. We're not going to find out the outcome yet, which should have been very obvious to me because that's what they always do. But even still, I was like, no, we have to wait. So we begin at breakfast. First players are immediately coming in and theorizing straight away about what Kevin was trying to do. Is Coco just a traitor? And it was traitor versus traitor backstabbing. Venus is there in that first group, I think, maybe second group. She's sort of acknowledging this. I guess it would look too suspicious to not acknowledge that that's potentially what was going on.
I mean, she literally said exactly what happened. They just didn't realize it because Rhea said, did Kevin bring up Coco and Shaughnessy because it was traitor infighting or because they're faithfuls and he wanted to throw everyone off? And Venus said, a little of column A, a little of column B, which is exactly what it is. One is a traitor, one is a faithful to throw everybody off. So,
yes.
I also think that Venus is playing like it's a copy and paste from Netta's game. It is like playing innocent, playing that pretty girl, being like quiet, but then picking the fights when she needs to and giving little clues, but not being super obvious with it. She is like, it's rinse and repeat Netta's game all over again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but I can definitely see the similarity there. I do have predictions about Venus, but I'll come to that much later. They also speculate about whether or not there was a murder or a recruitment last night. More players are arriving. And it seems like at least a couple of people do have a totally different interpretation of last night's events. Of course,
Lisette, I know what you're about to say. Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Lisette thinks that Kevin was actually sacrificing himself to save Chala. Of course, Lisette thinks that.
I was just like, what? That's insane. Like, yeah. And the funniest part of all of this Lisette stuff is she has focused on the married couple without knowing that they're the married couple.
Yeah, but I will say, I think that Lisette is like, it's an interesting game because, like, again, if like I can compare it to my season, I think that if Venus is playing Netta, Lisette is totally playing who's the loud guy for my season? What's his name again? What's his name? Oh my god.
Dylan, as soon as the season finishes, I forget everybody. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's playing the Cedric game where like Lisette is making herself unmurderable and it's just straight up banishment and is like the perfect amount of chaos for the traitors at the round table. That like in a way she's kind of like making herself be like there's no reason to get rid of her and the only reason to banish her is because you're just tired of her at the round table. But that's not enough for like these people who are being told they can win $10,000 for being a traitor. Right. Why waste your banishment vote on Lisette? Even though that's who I'd be voting for because like I don't want to vote for the traitor. I want to I don't care about the $10,000 when I'm still in the game. Lisette is for sure staying in the game. So for me, I'd like target her. But I think she's just playing that game of like, let's just be loud and it's keeping her alive for sure.
Do you think that's deliberate? I don't know if it's deliberate.
I don't think it is. That's what I was just about to say. I'd give her a lot of credit if I thought it was deliberate, but there is nothing that we have seen that makes me believe it's deliberate.
It's not deliberate, but I will say like this is like an interesting strategy that I think like the UK, like the guy that was like the politics person there kind of played of sometimes being that like person that can just be really a disturber, just like and has no heat on any of the traitors. Why not keep them around? Because they're just creating chaos. Like at the round table tonight, we're out of, Coco's begging for her life and Omar's begging for her life, spoiler alert for the future. But Lizette's like, and just 1 second, how about you? Has I known he'd on you for two
Yeah.
episodes? Let's just talk about that. Like,
I mean,
Lizette is like keeping herself unmurderable, which is props to
I
her.
guess so. I guess maybe she's doing that. I will sort of, try and not play devil's advocate, but see things from her side that she's convinced she's figured it out that Chala is a traitor. So I get that Lisette is like, I'm going to keep saying this so that I can be proved right at some point. Like, she firmly believes it, so she
Right.
just wants to keep making sure she's being heard, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes someone like that can actually be one of the winners.
Yes.
We have seen on a spoiler
for sure.
alert, flip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it, on a previous US season where sometimes the clueless people just get to the end and win because, well, they're obviously too clueless to be a traitor, so we might as well bring them along as a faithful.
Season 1 UK, no spoiler. That's a total
Yeah.
spoiler, but yeah, it's like those three won, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Sorry if those people are listening. I'm sure they're not. I
I thought you were going to
made-
say, I'm sure they're not clueless, but no, you just said, I'm sure they're not listening, which is accurate.
Not listening. Yes, I will not deny how Dillon has described them here. We've got Omar in his confessional saying, if we don't vote out Coco, we're going to look like the biggest idiots in Traitors history.
But
Which,
that's where I think that's really interesting because like Omar is like Coco talked to us earlier. Smart is sometimes not always the best strategically to be because Omar smartly was like, if all these men are dying, it's got to be a woman or women led that's the traitor. But that's not smart to say when the majority votes are now women, and now
guess.
you're putting the target on every single woman in that space. So like it's like that's where Coco is exactly right. Being the smartest is not always the best because he figured it out, but that ain't good.
yeah. And I guess
Yeah.
he does try to back off. Like, he says it, and then he's like, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
So
I just said it, but I'm not saying it. It's,
right,
Yeah.
right.
but yeah, I mean, I just want to say, Omar, don't worry. There's been plenty of bigger idiots in the history of the Traitors.
Yes.
You're not even close.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I shook someone's hand and I said I trusted them to a person I didn't talk to the whole entire time because I wanted to not talk to him.
I wasn't talking about you, just to make that clear. I said
sure.
it, but I didn't mean it. I'm taking
Okay,
it
don't
back.
worry. Don't worry.
Omar is basically telling Coco, surely it's you, and she acknowledges, yeah, this. I know how obvious it looks, but does the usual, of course. I am telling you, my faithful. She does it to various people throughout. I'm a faithful, of course, Willie. Please, I am. I think she's quite convincing. We're counting down players coming back. Obviously, we are waiting to see really if Thompson shows up. When when Chala shows up, we've got a little moment of Jamal talking about feeling they're a traitor. Even though others are persuading him otherwise, he thinks that Chala's a traitor. I think Jamal implies that Chala might be a new recruit, if I'm understanding him properly. And I'm
I think
pretty... Maybe I interpreted that wrong.
I didn't get that out of it. I thought what he
Okay.
was saying is, even if Chala isn't a traitor, their name is already out there. Make him a
Yeah.
scapegoat, which that's something we've talked about before. Is if you're faithful, you got to get rid of traitors and faithful to win the game. So it sounded like that's what he was saying.
Okay.
It's weird to have this dropped in there when Chala's name like never comes up except from Lisette the whole
obvious.
entire time. So it's weird that this is just dropped in there.
Can I just say, I love how Chala is playing this game. Like, I think that's exactly how I wish I played the game of like being super suspicious so you don't get murdered, but also like they're just so good at the round table that like even I'm convinced, even though I know they're faithful, that like they've done such a great job. And I think like Meredith is constantly running up to them being like, I love you, like you're my wife. And then Chala's like, don't talk to me. Essentially. So I think they're doing a great job on this show.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked it. Was it last week when when Meredith was like, "Oh, you're doing such a great job. You're doing such a great job." And Chala's like, "Okay, already. We're married. You don't have to keep complimenting me, you know."
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're great. I met them too, and I met a lot of the cast as well at the premiere, and I was like instantly like, I'm in love with them.
yeah. Although very sadly, or maybe it's not sad, Meredith posted on Instagram this week that they've separated and they're not together anymore. So
Oh,
yeah,
didn't.
there was a little
Oh,
post online about it. I there's a moment here, by the way, where David, you said it that Jamal refers to Chala as I'm pretty sure Jamal says a scapegoat,
Yeah.
like rather than just scapegoat. Maybe I'm mishearing it. I played it a couple of times. I think Jamal used the phrase scapegoat. It made me have a little chuckle. Next at breakfast, Sarah, Nicole, and Thompson are basically the only two people who aren't there yet. Chala says something interesting that I wanted to ask you about. Chala says it's clear, right. These are the two people who aren't back yet. It's clear they're high on someone's list, and I wondered, like, it's a bit of sort of metagaming. Like, oh, the fact that they're the last two people to come in must mean something. Does it always mean something? Like, as a player, do you think you can? I don't know. We've got the sort of age-old idea that the people who come in last must be faithful because that's the way that it's shown on TV, that they want the viewers to
Right.
be in suspense about who's going to be murdered. And we've since realised as the seasons have gone on, actually that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the traitor is one of the last people to walk in. But I mean, Dylan, maybe this factored into your game as a faithful. Were you thinking about who was coming in last, and does it actually mean anything?
it does and it doesn't. Like I remember thinking when, because like drinking water we talked about earlier at the round table, when it was clear that I was on death row without knowing if I was a traitor or faithful, but thinking I'd probably be a faithful, I was like, let's purposely make myself seem like a traitor, and let's try to have the most traitorous energies. Just so if I'm on death row, I want them to seem like I don't need to be murdered because I'll be banished in the future.
Hmm.
So I thought right away that I would be the last one in for breakfast, the first breakfast, and I was. And I wasn't really worried about me being murdered because I thought I had the most traitor heat on me, which is exactly what I wanted at the time. So it does, but then I think like when Nichelle was murdered, I think the last one in was Gail. And it just like to me, I was like, maybe it's just a random time, like where like they don't care, because I didn't think Nichelle was a traitor and she wasn't. And also on the top of that, I wasn't like it's either Nichelle or Gail. But then it turned out in the edit, like when they're in the turret, they really like I want Gail King Gong, and she wasn't. And so I think in that sense, as a player, I don't think you think too much of it because you're like, there's so much of your life that's kind of curated already that you're
Hmm.
like, maybe this means nothing because you can't
Yeah.
follow everything down a rabbit hole.
Right. Right. Yeah. I sort of imagine that if I was playing, I might tuck those things away in the back of my mind, but I don't think I would base entire decisions on second guessing why production made someone come in at like you'll never know the answer to that. So I
Yeah, or
wouldn't.
you're never like. I remember the first time I had my breakfast when I came in, the second breakfast rather, when it came in first. I thought the whole time Kevin and Lauren were traitors. So when it was me, Kevin, and Lauren, I was like, oh, this is a great edit of them. You know, the traitors saved Dylan last night.
Mhm.
Now at the next breakfast, here's Dylan not being murdered with the traitors. Like, how perfect would that be? So, like, in that sense, it did play into my mind, but I had already thought that Kevin and Lauren were the traitors when I played. But I was also not accusing them of because I wanted to be like that traitor angel,
Yeah.
keeping them
Right.
alive. So it's in your head, but it's not like you're not gonna like at the round table. You came in last, therefore you're a faithful. I don't think that'd be
Yeah.
a smart strategy at all.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's no more ridiculous than anything else that they say. Your face was red,
Right.
so
Right.
therefore you must be a traitor,
Yeah.
and
True, true,
so,
true.
but uh, in this case, it really has no bearing
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
we know that. I mean, the players know they were all ushered off one by one
Right.
to leave the cemetery, so it really should have no bearing in this particular situation.
Yeah. That's a very good point. And of course, in the end, Sarah Nicole shows up, and most of the players assume Thompson's gone. Some are hoping that he will still appear. We now flash back to the cemetery. And we're reminded Thompson had his chance to give a plea to the traitors. He's saying that he wants to win, he would help them do that. Karine asks the traitors then, do they wish to recruit? And they shake their heads. David, your prediction was right. I was wrong. I thought they would just panic and recruit him. Dillon?
His speech says, I always was like destined to win or something like where it was basically like, well, that means that all the traitors you're trying to convince, you need at that point to grovel in order to be like, I owe my game to you, even that if that's true or not. You just need to, he's like, I wanted to win this game. They don't care. They don't want you to win this game. So
Yeah.
I thought his speech was a little, but it's kind of, you didn't know an hour ago, 10 minutes ago that you'd be the last one there. So how could you prepare for that moment?
Right.
Sure, sure. Thompson then has his blindfold removed, and maybe it's just a weird edit. It looked to me like he sort of has not much of a reaction until, Karine tells him he's been murdered and he looks a bit upset. He doesn't say anything. Doesn't go, oh my God, it's you two. Like, there's just sort of nothing happening.
I will say only because it happened to me is that when I was the last one in, I remember you guys commented being like, I guess there weren't many rounds of applause when Dillon came in. They're kind of quiet. And it's because I did swear. And I was like, I think I said like a bad word. So he must have like said the F word or something like that when he got his reveal. And they're like, well, that's unusable. And so it could be one of those things.
They use the F word all the time now, it seems like.
Sure.
A few per episode. But I mean, I think the edit, at least that we've gotten of Thompson, has been someone who doesn't react very much.
Yeah, I guess.
Even when he was in the pit, everybody else is yelling and screaming, and he's just like, "Hey, throw me a rung."
Sure.
I love him. Thompson was one of my favorites. I don't know. I thought he was just like such a cutie.
Well, he's a dead cutie now.
And he gave his own little version of why Thompson lost. He was like, well, I guess I didn't reduce my murder threat level enough, and therefore...
He's such an analyst, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, taking my job here,
Right. I was quite impressed. Like, we didn't need to sound our traitor's klaxon for the I was clearly a threat. Like, I was like, oh, he's quite humble. He's like, oh yeah, I guess he says... something like I failed. Like he just admits, I just didn't play it well. So I thought, oh, good on you, Thompson. We also get Venus in confessional saying that she's already thinking ahead. She knows Coco's probably going to be banished next. That means she's going to end up a traitor alone, and at that point, she'll have complete control over who she recruits. So why bother recruiting Thompson right now under pressure from Coco? And back at breakfast, the clock chimes. Everyone realizes, oh, Thompson is not coming back. I was surprised by their reaction. They all seem horrified. Like there's this really extreme reaction to Thompson not coming back. I don't know if I'm missing something. Like, why were they so bothered by this? Are they just like that every morning? I don't know.
No. I would say that probably one of the biggest things is like, I think the realization that everybody was in, they don't know where they were, but I would suspect that they have an idea that they were in the cemetery. Mm-hmm. And I bet that the fact that all of them were there, I think it makes it extra special, just knowing that you were that close and coming and you can't, I'm interested to know like how it was actually like filmed and all that stuff. Cause like if you cough, then you're kind of admitting like where you are. Cause you can say pretty much who it is. So I would suspect that for a lot of those people who, it became too real, that murder was very, very real for those. So that's what I would assume the reaction was.
Yeah, that's a good point. I had sort of forgotten that aspect of this wasn't like any other murder. They had been outside together. You didn't know who was being led away. And that's a great point. Yeah, how do you stop someone from coughing? And I would imagine they've got earplugs in or something.
Karine is pretty darn scary, She booted someone off the show previously for making noise and letting people know that they were there somewhere. So
no comment.
What does Dillon know? Yes,
I'm sure Dillon knows all.
Yeah, maybe they were just frozen in fear from threat of Karine, perhaps.
Yes.
But the players also seem like mind blown that there wasn't a recruitment. Someone even says, I don't know who it was, someone says, why would you not recruit? We've
Yeah,
talked about this before on the pod, David.
yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Why would you recruit when you still have
Yeah.
two traitors? Get rid of someone. And now it might have been good for Coco to try to find a sacrificial lamb, but they couldn't talk about it. And
Right.
I'm also not sure that anyone even buy her anything. So I don't.
But it's the Omar thing. It's like sometimes it's good not to be so in the game and to be just like straight up like a
Yeah.
dumb person. Sorry, like to be like, oh my god, I can't believe a murder happened on the show where a murder happens once per night.
Yeah.
Because it's good to like be like, if you're like, oh, I couldn't believe that. Like one of the things that the saving graces for Michael John was Michael John would like turn to people like, what are the rules of this game? And I just ripped him off so often because he was just so confused by like, so like if someone's murdered, does that mean they're a traitor or a faithful? And I'm like, what? Like you don't know how this game works? And it turned out he was a traitor. So like I think it's like one of those things where again, Coco's super smart at the game. It's better to be strategic than smart, and those are different things.
Yeah.
Well,
I
the thing
guess.
is, we talked about this at the time with Michael John and also others. Is one big giveaway when I'm playing like Mafia for the first time with someone or with someone else for the first time, and they start acting that way. Oh, what are the rules? Who's in this game? Is there a doctor in this game? Is there a detective? How many times can the detective do it? Who can the doctor say? You're Mafia. Just get out of here. Just get out of here. You're pretending. It has like I would say
It works though. It works. It works.
yeah, but I've pegged it like 90% of the time. Like I'm 90%
Yeah.
right, I would say, in doing it because everyone thinks that they're the first person to think of it because they're a new player and they think they can get away with it without realizing that the experienced players have seen new players try this before. So,
Yeah, but it's gonna work on like Kara. It's gonna work on those. It's gonna work
Right,
on like
right.
Jericho. So
Yeah.
like that's the. I mean, that's why I think it was smart. Like I mean, I remember I would say things I would be like a little bit dumb about because it's just confirming faithful energy of being like if you not knowing the truth, it
Right.
makes it so much better. Because I remember like when Nichelle was murdered, I was like, well, she didn't talk much, so the traitors were probably saying that, and I was like, oh, don't say that because then I'm the one saying it, and like it just
Yeah.
makes me look suspicious, even though it was the truth. Nichelle was kind of quiet, and the traitors
Mhm.
wanted vocal people. That's why they kept so many times vocal people over quiet people.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I guess it depends on your fellow players. Like, who are you playing to? But David,
Yeah.
I now know if I'm ever playing Traitors with you, I shall not adopt that strategy of playing dumb. You'll see right through it. Uh, this is also the moment at breakfast that we've spoken about where Omer points out it has been almost all men banished and murdered so far. I think Mackenzie is the only woman who was in the death row mission, and even then, she kind
It's
of
like
almost
that's a group
wasn't
decision.
chosen. Yeah, it was a group exactly. So it wasn't even the traitors who solely made that decision. It was almost by accident. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish more was talked about that because it's kind of like blood on all their hands. They're all traitors for that episode because they're all deciding who gets murdered.
Very true. Yes.
That's probably why they don't want to talk about it because that would make them feel guilty about it,
Yeah,
and they don't
probably.
want to. So
Yeah.
For sure.
Perhaps. Off we head then to what I'm calling our manor moments because I can't think of a better name for this segment. Well, we leave breakfast and I don't know if someone in the show says this or if I just wrote this. Omer is on the cocoa train. Does he say that? Did I write
No.
Oh,
that?
I think
Okay.
So
I think I
But
wrote it myself.
he is definitely
I think
on the
I just
cocoa
wrote
train.
Omer is on the cocoa train, and then I wrote to myself, "This sounds like a drug euphemism." Like, oh, you seen that guy? He's on the cocoa train. Like, but yes,
I would say
he-
he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
he's
is what he
cuckoo for
is.
cocoa. Yes.
just real quick, because if you need to know what these words are called, and someone says it later, like Sarah said in the last reality we had before this thing, and for those manner moments, those are called for the contestants' reality.
Okay.
When you're in
Just-
round table, it's called round table. If you're in like the manor and you're like walking around, it's called reality because it's like
yes.
so. because I only say that because Sarah said it on the show. So I was like, oh, they made the edit. Like that's the
Interesting.
terminology that's very production level. So in like Omar's last reality, that's like what it was very interesting to hear that.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
We actually, someone emailed. I'm gonna. Someone called Tony, who lovely listener Tony, sent me a bunch of questions, and although that's not one of the ones I was going to use today, Tony asked about that very thing. What are the players allowed to discuss in this in this reality time? Are they only allowed to talk about the game? Can they just talk about random regular things like what they did for their birthday last year? And so I guess I mean, Dylan, can you kind of just talk about whatever you want? But are you told
I don't
don't
know what
talk
to.
about X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, yeah, you're told not to talk. Like, I mean, like before round table, obviously, like you can't talk game. Like you can't talk about what's going to be happening because that will be saved for camera.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you're encouraged not to bring up things that happen in like non-filming times because it's not
Okay.
filmed. So like, how would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
reference it?
Sure.
So yeah, but like I mean, like there are times where like you see people go over to talk to confessionals and all stuff, and you notice it, and like, but you're not going to bring it up on the game because that would be something that would be like, well, like it's talking about production, which is not allowed.
Hmm.
And like for obvious reasons, and like for a lot of reasons, it shouldn't be allowed because then it would just ruin the show.
Right.
Um, but like I think there are times where you're not allowed to talk, and then there are times you're allowed to talk, but you can't talk game related stuff, and there are times when you're in filming where you can talk about whatever you want. But even when you're talking about whatever you want, like they try to make sure it's limited to as much what's happening currently.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, famously, I didn't think Michael John was to be a traitor because he started singing a song the first time I met him, which is not going to be licensed ever to be on the show. So I was like, this person doesn't understand how TV works. Avoid him at all costs.
Well, yeah,
So,
Matthew, they must be able to talk about various things because how else would everyone find out about Coco's love of dirty books?
well,
So
yes, this is true.
uh,
This is true. Of
Yeah,
course.
and like the UK version, they eat on camera, but you'll never see us eating on camera besides
Oh
breakfast
yeah,
on the
yeah.
Canadian version. So it's just things like that. There are times where there's, times to eat, and so that has to be done off camera.
That's true. Uh, so while Omer is on the Coco train, there are in this reality time other suspicions flying around. Meredith thinks that Rhea actually is an amazing actress who must be a traitor. Well, and is downplaying how much acting experience she has.
I,
Jamal is suspicious of Omer. Are you laughing at the
I'm,
Rhea as an
I'm,
actress
la-
thing?
yes, because it's just such a ridiculous thing to get hung up on. Like, oh,
Right.
she mentioned she's an actress, therefore she must have 4 Academy Awards and be just totally stringing us along. But that said, look, future play, and this is an example of, something that no one would know unless she brought it up. Because it's
Mm.
not like they looked up IMDb and found her one play where she got bad reviews or whatever. Um, Future players, if you have any acting in your background, never ever bring it up. Just never say, I don't care if you were 5 years old and you were in a cereal commercial. Do not bring it up because it can get used against you in ridiculous ways like this.
I think it's a
Yes.
little hard in the Canadian version because the Canadian version, for the most part, when they do casting, you kind of need a casting, like you need an agent behind you to help like navigate that. So I wonder if that cat up during non-reality times that she had a casting, like she has an agent or something like that. So then
Mm.
that's how it got brought up in there. And because I don't have an agent, and I was one of the only people on my season to not have an agent, because I haven't done reality TV or some kind of content creation before. So I wonder if that is a little bit of non-reality TV influencing reality
Mm,
TV
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I just remember like the people were suspicious of me because they thought I would be lying about what I was doing because I didn't have it because they all had it on. And I
interesting.
mean, it might be not. It's I don't think it's true for this one because I don't think Natalie has an agent or I don't think of these people. So I think it was just they were going for more content creators in my season than they were of some sort. So it might have been something like that where she was like, "Oh yeah, I've been in some plays," and thought nothing of it during
Hmm.
non-reality, and then someone's like, "I'm bringing it up."
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Adria has been posting funny little stories about this on Instagram.
Her socials are so funny, and I found her amazing. Again,
That's because
I'm
she's an
loving her on the show.
actress.
Yeah, no, but she's good.
Yeah, she's good fun. She's been posting some great stills from the show and stuff. And at this moment, when, Meredith's talking about Rhea and Jamal's talking about Omar, I was really surprised at Jericho because Jericho jumps on board with Jamal being worried about Omar. However, I wondered why isn't he just because he had figured out what was going on with Coco. He was like, "Oh right, clearly Coco's a traitor,"
Right.
and I was like, Jericho, just stick with that. But then, well, first of all, I thought he could think both of them are traitors. Maybe he's weighing that up. And I did think back to Omar's vote last night. He voted for Coco, and only he, Kevin, and randomly Dom voted for Coco. So I guess that might make you think that Omar's in cahoots with Kevin. So there's something in that. So maybe there is reasonable evidence for thinking, oh, okay, maybe it's also Omar and Coco.
Something happens when Jericho plays this game where like what he says in confessional is the opposite of what he thinks. Like he's like bouncing off he's a little cuckoo in this game because he's like, I'm gonna vote for Coco tonight. It's 100% that way, and then he just doesn't. And like he goes like in like really like crazy ways, and he's like, Kevin's his ride or die. I love Kevin. Kevin's the one that's feeding me all the information. Kevin, I think you're a traitor. And like it ended up being correct, but like it's a little bit, to me, I would be a little bit annoyed as a fellow faithful to be like, I don't know what you're thinking because you're telling me one thing and then it happens something else.
Which makes it especially funny once we get to the end of this episode when he's the one saying, I don't know what the heck is going on here because you're telling me one thing. And
Right, absolutely. Next up, we are in the cars. We're heading off towards the mission for the day. And Lisette is trying to prep Coco for Roundtable and saying, you're going to come up tonight. People are going to vote for you. Lisette is totally naive to the idea that Coco actually might be a traitor, and I don't know why. And she says, I'll do whatever I can to defend. Exactly. Chala's the one traitor, and no one else.
Yeah.
No, but I actually thought that Coco's choice of just having Lizette was kind of fascinating because if like you had just had all that heat on you, the one person you're gonna pick to be in your car is just Lizette. Like I would want to have like I would pick like Kara, Natalie, get in the car with me, I'm driving. Instead, she picks like Lizette, which I thought was a really interesting choice, and I actually thought was going to be work out against her.
Maybe nobody else wanted to go in the car with Lizette. We're going to hear about this. I don't want to hear you. You go with Coco. Just go with Coco.
Yeah. No, because you do get to pick your own cars, and I found car time to be like the most because you're in a secluded zone. You're in like a place where no one can overhear you. Car time is one of my favorite times, and I always like made sure I was in the car that I wanted to be in. Sometimes it didn't work out in my favor, but like there are times where like car time was like super important, and Coco is just like, Lizette, let's go, just the two of us, and I'm really fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of things have unraveled in the cars and in various seasons. It's great that you get to pick who you want to ride with and have that little moment with.
Yeah, I mean Venus, like she can actively throw Coco under the bus, and she does in this episode, but she doesn't have to worry about Coco finding out because it's car time, and it's like then your word against someone else's word.
Sure. No one's going to accidentally overhear you in the corridor or something like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, and if something does come up and it's your word against everyone else in the car, I mean, certainly there would never be a Traitors season that someone would say something in the car, and three other people would all testify to it, but those three people wouldn't be believed. It would just be the one person, and so people who know what we're talking about know who we're talking about, and I haven't spoiled it for anyone else. So
no. Dylan, this may mean nothing to you, but one day it will. That's all I'll say. It's time for the mission then. We arrive at a beautiful church. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
One thing, and maybe it wasn't in your version, was Dom has a great read in his car.
Oh, I may have missed this.
He's talking to Jericho and Venus and says that maybe Kevin mentioned, they knew why he was, or it was pretty clear why he was going after Coco, but they mentioned Shaughnessy's name as a safe decoy, which to me is, he hit the nail on the head. He was, we talked about this. He was bringing up the traitor who he knew and the decoy who he knew was not, so that it would not be obvious.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a great reminder for listeners that I watched the shorter version of the episode, but David and Dylan have seen the extended version. So I have a couple of questions, particularly at Roundtable, about strange to me cuts. So I reckon there were things left out of my version that we'll get to. At the mission, then we're at this very beautiful grand church, quite different to some of the like tiny little village chapels we often see in the Traitors. This was impressive. Karine arrives in the most brilliantly wild outfit that I love because it's so over the top.
It's Pope Karine to you. What do you?
Pope Karine. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like we're at the Met Gala. I even looked this up because I was so sure and I was right. Like in 2018, the Met Gala is themed every year, and one year it was heavenly bodies. So we had lots of these A-list celebrities in sort of Roman Catholic inspired Pope outfit. So I thought Karine would have fitted in perfectly there alongside like Cardi B. And this mission is basically a game of riddles. Karine is going to read out riddles to them. If you think you know the answer, step forward, grab an urn. They're all labelled with words. There are a lot of them. Throw it into this sort of pit of stones. Gold ash exploding means you've got the correct answer and you bank $1,000. We saw a mission very much like this, I'm pretty sure, in US Season 3. However, if the ash is black, it means it's the wrong answer and you are eliminated from the mission. Correct players also get to choose who they want to kind of nominate for a shield. There are 3 spots available. You can't choose yourself. And once those 3 frames are filled, you have to start replacing people. I remembered this sort of mission from last time. Yes.
Can I mention one thing? This is maybe something that I don't want to spoil the illusion too much, but I wonder how much the color of the dust was real.
Ooh,
because there's no green dust when you smash it, like they clean it every time. And also, how would logistically you know that this one is correct for this answer,
right? Exactly,
and not true for the next one?
Yeah.
It's just like behind the scenes, probably a little bit like ruining TV magic of
right.
How
I wondered
real
the
is
exact
the
same
dust?
thing. I thought the dust was real, but I wonder if when you take an urn off the shelf, they cut. Production hands you another one, and that's
right.
the one.
I didn't say that. Maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Is if maybe they're, they yes, exactly. They cut and hand it to you because also, and this is something we discussed at the U.S. version. What if you accidentally pick, like you said, the right answer for the wrong question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's likely
not to ruin the TV magic, but that's probably
right.
Probably the case.
Yes. I am going to read through the riddles sort of fairly quickly, hopefully, with whoever gets it right or wrong and who they choose to be in the frame. So first one, if it's love, let's hope it's eternal. The answer is flame. Jericho gets it correct. Chooses Rhea, and he's hoping that Rhea will choose him in return. Next up, it's always with you, clearly. Coco chooses air, which apparently is the wrong answer. I thought this was a good right answer. This mission does slightly sort of bother me a little bit. Part of my job is often working on game shows, quiz shows, and there's these sort of a whole world of mechanics and fairness when you're trying to create trivia shows and quiz shows. These are very subjective. Like, some of these answers are so ambiguous. Like, I sort of thought, why wouldn't the answer be air? I thought that was a good explanation. Even Coco's pissed about it, so I'm sort of on Coco's side here. I think that's a bit of a shame.
But I love that Coco's like a few pews down, just like sulking and like being very angry that she's off the game.
Right. Poor Coco.
What was the riddle again?
It was and now I don't even remember what the answer was. It's always with you, clearly. And air
Wasn't it
was not
shadow?
the correct answer.
It's shadow.
Oh,
shadow.
Always with you, clearly.
Yeah, okay, I guess. And I think air's fine too, but hey.
I think air is fine, but yeah, sometimes I mean, sometimes it'll happen like on Survivor. They'll have a word puzzle and someone will come up with something and it'll be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, that's a real word, but no, that's not the one we're looking for." So sorry.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of these here that you could have interpreted differently.
Yeah.
In
Number
French, it
three.
translates better.
Oh yeah, maybe that's a good point. Number three is when it hits you, you know it's aim. The answer is arrow. Hollywood gets this correct. I love Hollywood's delivery of every sentence, no matter what the sentence is. So, like in this case, we cut to confessional of Hollywood, like, I've added another $1,000 to the prize pot. And like I think Hollywood could say anything like this, just be like, I went to get a glass of water from the kitchen. Like, just like the most meaningless thing ever. Like, I have an itch I can't reach. Like, just, it's always so sassy. It's just brilliant. Anyway, he chooses Sarah Nicole. Next up, even in the worst case scenario, she cannot be checked. The answer is Queen. Meredith, very clever, gets it correct, chooses Cara. Obviously, wisely, is not going to choose Chala and make things too obvious. Number five, everyone has five, even if they have none. Rhea, I think, like, goes too early and thinks it's fingers and then realizes, oh wait, most people have 10 fingers, so this doesn't make sense. But she runs out of time, she's eliminated, she doesn't even get to pick anything. And Karine explains that the answer is sense. And cut to Hollywood again, like, even if they have none, ain't that the truth? Like,
Yeah.
I just want to cut to Hollywood all the time to see what he's got to say about things.
Hollywood's great.
Yes, and actually, on Instagram today, Hollywood's doing some sort of like, I think there's a new season of Traitors Canada starting or something, and like Paula Abdul is
No,
going to
no.
be at some like.
Drag Race Canada. Canada's Drag Race.
What did I say?
Traitors.
You said traitors.
Oh, sorry. Drag Race Canada, thank you. Yes, and Hollywood's Jade is like somehow involved in it again, or at some like live screening and something like that. Traitors, Drag Race, not the same show, very similar. Next one, leading or not, yours is still important. The answer is roll. Cara gets this correct. And now we're at the point where we have to start swapping out portraits. So Cara chooses to swap Rhea's for Meredith, kind of returning Meredith's favour. And Cara, even again, this like Rhea as an actress thing continues. She spots Rhea's movie star smile, and she thinks Rhea's a traitor underneath the pretense. Like they have eaten up this idea that Rhea is this like genius actress.
No, but I love Kara being like, and she's smiling and wanting to murder me, and then there's like cut to Rhea frowning and looking super sad.
Yeah.
Yes, some funny editing there. Yeah, Cara.
That's where
Cara,
she went too hard in the confessional and not knowing that it would not translate.
yeah,
But that's kind of Kara's MO.
yes. Number 7 is a hand across the banks. And then this is another one. Chala chooses the word wave. I think that's quite sensible. The answer is bridge. I'm guessing it's like the card game bridge. It's a sort of play on that. Is that
No, I
right?
was just thinking it's giving you a hand across.
Oh, like
to go
literally
over-
get.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was a little ESL of Chala. I was like, wave? What?
Yeah,
They're
like wave.
Turkish, so I thought it.
Like a
I don't know.
wave,
I was
a
like,
hand and also a wave in the river. Like I thought that was smart. I was like, oh, wave, that's ambiguous, yeah. But hey, and then it was bridge, and I was like, oh, it's like the card game bridge because you've got a hand. I was reading way too much into these riddles. Like I was, I was getting very carried away. I'm a writer. So Chala's eliminated anyway. Number 8, to be played or to be taken. Meredith jumps forward, chooses life. That's wrong. The answer is note. Number 9, when it's yours, take it. The answer's turn. And Venus gets this one correct and replaces Cara's picture with Hollywood. And we're reminded, I would never have remembered this, that Hollywood helped her in the first mission and got her a shield. Of course, Hollywood has no idea that Venus is a traitor. And lastly, number 10, don't be fooled by the worm, it will still soften your heart. The answer is silk. Hollywood gets this correct and replaces Meredith with Shaughnessy. It's game over. They've raised $6,000, and Shaughnessy, Sarah Nicole, and Hollywood all have shields. back to some reality time. Thank you, Dylan. Coco and Shaughnessy talk about Kevin bringing their names up, and Shaughnessy saying that she's going to go for Coco tonight. Venus comes to Coco and says that she's like, oh, I don't know what Kevin was doing, which is not the truth. Like she knew Kevin was going to do it at some point, just didn't know how soon he was going to try and do it. And she asks, I don't know if she's pretending. Like, I don't know how much of Venus is an act when she's saying, like, Coco, what do you want me to do? You tell me. How are we going to play this?
Oh, it's 100% act.
Like,
it's all act.
Yeah,
all act.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think that there must have been some things you didn't see because there was other stuff in the car that made me scratch
I got
my
no
head.
more car after the mission.
Because
So yeah.
Meredith told Coco that Omer has been pushing Chala. And I'm like, totally scratching my head on that one because we saw him, as you said, on the Coco train and saying he wanted to stay focused on her. So I don't know where this idea, if Meredith is trying to throw Coco off. I mean, obviously Meredith has an ulterior motive in trying to protect Chala, but it's just it's another weird thing to drop in. So I understand why it wasn't in the TV version. I don't understand why it was in the online version at all, because it turns into literally nothing. And then in another car, Lisette tells everyone in that car, which I think is Hollywood, Sarah Nicole, and Cara, what she said to Coco on the way over, but none of them are buying it. They pretty well believe they have it clocked that Coco is the traitor and Shaughnessy was the decoy. So again, the people seem to, at this point in time, believe they know what Kevin was going for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, unless I fell asleep for like 2 minutes, I don't think any of that content was in the version that I saw. So it's very interesting. I've got Venus talking to Coco, and Coco's only play is to go for Omer tonight. Like she knows that the problem is. I think she acknowledges this, that the problem is that if Omer does get banished, it's kind of just putting off her own banishment a little bit longer. Like, because he's going to stand up and say he's faithful. So it actually will just end up making her look worse. But I mean, it's her only option is to like just delay things one more day.
You gotta just fight for today and then you'll see what happens tomorrow. You gotta fight for today always.
Yeah. And mad things come up all the time that spin things into another direction. So maybe someone else does something nuts that actually ends up taking attention away from her. So,
and this season has had so many twists. I mean, I think every single episode has had a different twist to change everything. So I think Coco's like, come on, Corinne, give me another twist.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, we've got Rhea trying to gather support on going for Omer. And it was at this point in the episode that I thought, you really ought to just go with Jericho's advice from last time. Sometimes just do the obvious. Just go, and I like Coco. Like, she's fun to watch, but I'm like, just get Coco out. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's so obvious, surely, what Kevin was doing. But Rhea's main reasoning is she's sort of thinking about like the meta of the game, I guess. Yes. Like, why did production pick the traitors they picked? Like, would they really have picked two people from the same franchise? That seems unlikely. Hollywood also says, yeah, Omer's been on my radar the whole time. I really wanted him to say traitor. We'll get there.
Sorry, just
go ahead.
Go, David. Go ahead.
Well,
I was just going to say. Oh, sorry.
Dillon, on you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to say that Rhea and Jericho have this crazy idea. I don't know if this is in your edit, but Rhea is like, if I drink my water twice, then that means I was like, Rhea, as you've been at the round table now, this is going to be your fourth time. You know that it's impossible to communicate those things. So it's just like one of those things that like I think that like I feel like Melinda would have like had like that kind of level of like, if I blink twice in this direction facing east, that means I'm voting for this person. And I'm like, wait, this is like, that's where I kind of love Rhea, because like Rhea's like, I'm going to drink twice. You know that means I'm going for this person. And
Well,
Jericho's like, yes, that's easy to do.
well, but the thing is that, and not to jump ahead, but she does send the message on purpose.
Yeah.
She just changes it after she sends it,
Right.
Yeah, what I was going to say is the whole meta situation here is there are several problems. One,
Mm.
Rhea is willing to look at this meta, but not willing to look at the meta that Omer was talking about with the men and women situation.
Yeah.
So one meta is okay, another meta is not okay.
Yeah.
Second, producers know you look at the meta, which
Right.
ruins the meta. It's like, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle or whatever. You can never know the direction and location because if you're watching one, it changes it.
Mhm.
And so, the producers are watching, they know. And so we've seen a season where like all the traitors were men just to throw things off. We've seen a season where, yes, they picked two people from Big Brother this season. But even beyond that, even putting that aside, we have already seen twists in other series where Karine, well, the host, doesn't pick all of the starting traitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
We saw it in the U.S. They pick some starting traitors and then tell the traitors to pick the last one. So even if Karine didn't pick two Big Brother people,
Mhm.
Kevin could have been like, I want the other Big Brother person in here. Or
Yes,
Coco
yeah.
could have been, well, I want Kevin in here. You
Sure.
don't know. So, yes, there's a place for the meta. I think it can inform things, but you cannot stake your whole game life on it. That no, I am definitely sure that this is the case because there's no way they would put two Big Brother in. Because even Kevin argued last time. Well, they're not going to put a Big Brother person in as a traitor for all the seasons. That would be ridiculous. And yet here we are.
Yeah, I had a similar thought that if I was playing the game, it's easy for me to say, but I don't think I would be using this methodology to place my votes, like to try and second guess what production have picked. Like, because like you said, David, yeah, like just because they did something last season doesn't mean they're going to do it again this time. Like, I would think that if I had to pick someone to vote for tonight, I would rather go on the slightly more tangible things. Like, what has actually happened that I've witnessed? Like, Kevin's insane behavior last night. Like,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
probably just go with that rather than try to second guess who's been chosen as a traitor by production, which I'll never know the answer to.
Sure. I will say though, as a player, you do think about those things about who was on the show. And I would also say that like what show you did previously, if you did a show previously, influences how you play this game. Like I think that's like Netta, I think played a lot of the game through confessionals and like got a lot of her narrative out and was able to, vent during confessionals. And I think that helped there. Coco's on Big Brother Celebrity, which is very different than Big Brother Canada. Like Big Brother
Mhm.
Celebrity in Quebec, like it's probably not super game like oriented. It's more like celebrity oriented. And so in that sense, it's like I never put Trana in the gamer category in
Mhm.
my head because Trana was from the same place. But even like Kirkland, like because he came from a dating show, he would
Yeah.
talk to people one on one because I think he was used to having these moments of one on one. And I was always like, stop doing one on ones because then it's like he said, she said, instead of it being a group where it's like the three of you can hammer it out together.
Right.
So I wonder if it's in Ria's mind of like not putting Big Brother Celebrity like I did in the same category as like
Mm.
a gamer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very good point.
Yeah. And yeah, the way she talks about now, the one exception to everything that I just said, by the way, is if I was trying to get the target on someone, I would absolutely use the meta in whatever way I could
Oh yeah,
to
sure. Yeah.
convince other people. I'm just saying if I were trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
and I really think Rhea is trying to figure it out. There's nothing I've seen that indicates an ulterior motive here. I think she's trying to figure it out, and it's just overusing the meta, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. we're almost at the round table, and the final note that I had before that was just the fact that Omer comes to
Yes.
Coco to tell her she needs to be prepared to defend herself. And I don't know why Omer's trying to. I mean, other than that they get on well and they're pals, like, I don't know why he's helping her. So I was
I
kind
don't
of
watch Survivor,
surprised.
but is that maybe that's Survivor meta, and like that's what you do in Survivor when you know you're about to go to a tribal council? Is that no?
He got backstabbed by his best friend on Survivor. So,
Okay.
um,
Or so maybe it's that meta of like I don't want to get backstabbed by my best friend, so I'm going to be super honest with people. So
Mm,
you do bring in those previous
yeah,
experiences. So maybe he's thinking about that of like I like you and I'm coming after you. Just want to make sure that like my best friend
right.
backstabbed me. I don't want to do that same
Yeah.
thing to you.
I mean, it's also possible that was there was something leading up to that was edited out. Like they may have been
mm.
talking, and Coco may have said, "Well, I don't know if people are coming after me," and he was just like, "Yeah, they are." Yeah, just
Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
yeah.
so it could have been something like that where we don't see the initial part, we just see that. The part that had me the most worried was as we were about to head to Roundtable, we got a confessional from Omer where he said Coco has nothing on him and she'd better not come after him and miss because he won't. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a at this moment in the episode, as Roundtable's about to begin, I was trying to think I was trying to put myself in Coco's shoes and think, right, it's not looking good. And I know that her plan is to go for Omar, which, spoiler, kind of ends up working. But
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think, like, what else would I do if I was Coco right now? How could I get attention off myself? And I came up with another line of defense. You could let me know what you think. Well, in my head, when I wrote this down, it was like genius. She could go in and have a pretend theory that actually Shaughnessy's the traitor, or one of the traitors, and that what Kevin was doing was attempting to protect Shaughnessy by saying, "I think I know who the traitors are. It's Coco and Shaughnessy." But the reason that he focused so much on Coco and said everyone go for her is because he thought everyone would banish Coco. Like this wouldn't work in reality. This is what Coco is telling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
She could say, he wanted me banished first so that I'd stand up and say I'm a faithful, and then it would make Shaughnessy look faithful, like he got her wrong too. And so he was trying to protect her as a fellow traitor. She's the traitor. That's what Kevin was doing. So like that could be a way out of it. Does that make sense?
I think she
I
handled it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, she
I
didn't
wouldn't
need
change.
to. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was already enough people who were concerned about Omer,
Yeah.
and she would have needed to start that plan like the previous night. She would have needed to be right on top of
I
that to start
guess.
planting those
Oh
seeds.
yeah, yeah,
And
So I
and
think
Omar had yeah.
she went with
Omar
her
had
ulterior
received votes too. Yeah.
right. She went with her other plan, which was dress as a clown.
yeah. And
Okay, wait, I have something to say about this because I think I think going to that round table, she's like, there's no way I'm leaving, so I'm gonna wear what I want to wear because I want to wear my final outfit. So I'm 100% sure she's wearing what she thought she'd be banished in tonight.
yeah, probably, yeah.
Because she
But
did her
you're right.
makeup like a clown, she
Yes,
did
Yeah.
the
her
outfit to be banished.
absolutely. Yeah, I didn't think like just suddenly going into the round table, she suddenly presents this. I just wondered if that could have been like over the past 24 hours. But you're right, she'd already voted for Omer yesterday, so why not just stick to that? Like that's the more
Right.
obvious thing to do. And it is basically going to be an Omer versus Coco situation going in, apart from Lisette. So Omer is, he's going in giving it big fight and talk. He says Coco's got nothing on him. And I thought, well, that's not necessarily true. She's got a couple of things on you. She could point out that you voted with Kevin rather than against him and so on. Um, and maybe I should have seen that this was a little bit of like not
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowing, but like sort of they're going to pull the rug out by having Omar saying she's got nothing on me. Actually, are they going to try? They're going to trick us now, and it's going to go the opposite way.
Yeah,
This is
that like I said, that was what worried me. I was like,
yeah.
oh, I feel bad things coming for Omer at this point.
This is
Wait, can we just
where,
start though with the start though? How Kara decides crazily. Like this is where like you probably
Yes.
don't know, you probably didn't watch Real Houses of Toronto, but I watched Real Houses of Toronto because I'm from Toronto, and Kara is my least favorite housewife from that series, and decides I'm now the star of this, and I'm gonna start interrogating them using lawyer tactics when I'm not a lawyer,
But
and her
she
tactic.
was a secretary in her husband's law office. That means she knows. And the funniest part to me is she calls them discovery questions. They're not discovery questions.
No.
They're she's trying to interrogate, which is not the same thing as discovery. So she doesn't even have the terminology correct.
No, she's just like, I need camera on me right now
Right.
because I
Yeah.
think yeah, and it's like it could not be, and it falls apart within like 2 seconds because if you're going to do discovery, you have to do rapid fire questions or like some kind of like way of doing it in a better way. But this is not, you can't do that because other people have to respond and other people have to
Right.
add them their points. So like Kara, like I just love that she's like, this is my time to shine, and I would have been like, what? I would have
I'm
just started laughing.
I'm so glad you brought this up because you've already answered my question that none of that was in my version of the show and the shortened version. So
Mm.
in the version I watch,
Oh.
this is where there's a very abrupt cut. Like Karine does all her usual "Welcome to the round table tonight," blah blah blah. Here's how much money you've got. And in my version, there's a very abrupt cut to Coco suddenly talking absolutely out of context. So I kind of knew, oh, something's been cut here. Like, this isn't right. She's
Yes.
just
Yeah,
suddenly talking to Omar. And she
it's
says, like, the
Kara.
first thing she says is, she says, "You're the one who brought up the gamer theory." And I'm like, oh, when did the discussion
Well,
start? So it's a very weird cut. Yeah.
it's because Kara's discovery question was asking, can you please explain your woman theory? And
Okay.
so he does, to just go over everything, and then it comes back to Coco, which of course she wants to defend. She comes at him hard,
Hmm.
and yeah, says that they lied because. Oh, okay. So when I say they lied, sorry, trying to fill in whatever blanks you may or may not have here, is that she says she was always honest about having been on Big Brother.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I saw
okay,
that bit. Yeah.
so you saw that. So then so she turns it back on him and says, "You and Kevin lied
Yeah.
because you didn't tell people that you're
Your
friends
friends.
with
Yeah.
each other," which is something that someone had emailed or written a comment to us and saying, "I think they are friends." And I
Yeah.
said, I don't know. Maybe they know each other, but I don't know if they're friends. And as we find out, yes, they are, in fact, pretty good friends. And Omer says, "Oh, yeah, we've known each other for 3 years, and my friendship blinded me," which
Yeah.
I think is a
Yeah.
pretty good response to that.
Yeah. I thought so too.
It is, but I think it's like the unfair thing, and it was giving me like New Zealand season one, where everybody seemed to know each other very well, and it
Yeah.
was just like in that point, it's like that's where I that's where I get a little bit annoyed by Canada having so many gamer people on it because it's not as authentic as the UK version where people don't know each other beforehand. Because if you do work in reality TV, it's a pretty small world in Canada. So like and those are two pretty big, vehicles like Big Brother and Survivor that I could see how like there'd be a lot of overlap there. So like, you know, I know it's not the paranormal, podcasting realm that I thought Michael and Michael knew each other from. Uh, but at the same time, like, I think I would be a little bit annoyed by, because I kind of knew of some players beforehand, but I didn't know them personally. And
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, okay, I don't like that you guys are so friendly because that's really, like, friendships are really scary in that game. And when friendships develop, that can be like, that just means that you're not a friend almost. Like they think of that other
Right.
person before they think of you.
Yeah.
That's even damaging to your own game.
Yeah.
I, 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 I know what you're saying, and I agree with it. And this is why I did not want any more, and we don't get them, any more U.S. seasons where it was half and half for that same
Yeah.
Yeah.
reason. But on the other hand, you've also got a married couple who nobody knows about. So
Yeah.
which is, fair and unfair are hard words to use here, but which is, you know, more unfair, the unknown married couple or Kevin and Omar, who people may know are actually friends, if
Well,
not
see,
everybody.
that's where I think that the unknown couple is more fair because it's kind of the conceit of Traitors since season one. There's always that like people that know each other. And that's where I also like I love everybody from my season, so I'm not trying to diss her. But Kira, when she would always be like, "Oh, these faithful are so dumb, they don't know everything." It's like, well, not only do you know another person in this game who is a faithful, you're a traitor. So like there's nothing you don't know. So like what do you mean like we're dumb? Because you have more knowledge than anybody who's ever played this game before you, like outside of like I want to say France season two, where one was a traitor and they were a couple, but they were open about them being married. So like that's where that's where I think it's funny because like Kevin and Omar knowing each other and having that pre-existing relationship, I guess like there's nothing like that to have people that talked before. Like I knew who Melinda was before the season, but Melinda had no idea who I was, so it's not like an unfair advantage there, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Omar goes on, Omar talks about Kevin and says, well, because I sort of know him well, he says he was he described him as a bombastic Big Brother player. And he says, well, why would he, as a traitor, have singled out some random faithful to target? Like that doesn't make sense, but Coco just comes back at Omar saying, well, Kevin was trying to protect you, and she's accusing him of hiding his friendship with Kevin. I believe, and he sort of he owns up to, and like you said, David, he says, yeah, maybe that blinded me a bit, and I don't know if it's here or later on. There was something else quite important that like just a big section that's cut from my version. I know about it now because you guys have filled me in on it, but Omar talks more, I think, about Kevin. Yeah,
so this is where Meredith asks him a follow-up question.
Okay,
and
I did see that.
Yeah, Omar talks about how he lost some good friends after October 7th because of how he chose to advocate in that situation. But Kevin stood by him, and Omar said it's powerful to have a Muslim man and a Jewish man standing together. It's bigger than the game, and it's not something he was willing to sacrifice without being 1,000% sure that Kevin was a traitor. So he's using this to, I don't want to say he's using this. He is explaining why he was not willing to vote for Kevin in that moment. And honestly, I thought this would turn the tide, or at least help. I don't think he was using it in the game that way. But I have also frequently said, mostly on my Survivor podcast, anything in the game is in the game, which means, for all these people know, he was lying. He wasn't, but, it was a very personal moment, and it was only in the extended version.
Yeah.
I was surprised, though, if I was playing the game, I'd like, oh, well, this doesn't make me edit because it's talking about something that happened in reality, and it's like, or like the reality of the world we live in. I would have not reality, but like like that actually happened.
Yeah.
And like this is also coming from someone who said shut the F up to somebody, and I didn't think it would make the edit, and when I made the edit I was surprised by that. So like I guess you're like David is right. If it happens in the game, it can be played and it can be happening in the game because you're the one. But I would have been like, well, that's probably not going to make it because that just seems like it's removing us from the manor, and everything should be manor focused. So for me, I don't think it was as big of a selling point, but also I thought, I mean, like it seemed like everybody wanted to move away from it as quick as possible because they probably were like, none of this will make the edit.
Yeah.
But it did.
Yeah, surprised.
It sort of made the edit. I don't know how many people watch the long version versus the TV version. So made the edit for a certain percentage. For 67% of the people on this podcast, it made the edit.
Yeah. And the next, in my version, the next thing I see is Sarah Nicole suddenly just being utterly confused and going, where's Omar's name come from? Like, she's just like, what's going on? What have I missed?
Well, the only thing I think that you missed there was Jamal did try to keep things aimed at Omar by saying, this feels like traitor on traitor. And I'm like,
Oh,
and he was
okay.
pointing to Omar and Coco. And it's just,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a weird Jamal thing. Like sometimes he just says stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Hmm.
sure, but I think it's also one of those things where I think like probably no one would want to tell Sarah because she might be close with Omar.
Right.
Oh, we're going after Omar tonight because like when people went after Mary Jo, no one said, "Oh, Mary Jo's likely to get banished tonight." So when they said to me, like I didn't find out until Roundtable. I know
Mhm.
that she was panicking because I could sense her panicking, but I was on Team Mary Jo. I love Mary Jo. And then because everybody else went on the bandwagon, Mary Jo having to go, and she didn't really defend herself that well. Um, I was like, I guess I have to because I have to look like I'm part of the like the herd. So I wonder if they just like were like, she's a gossip. Don't tell Omar because we don't want Omar knowing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's what I was thinking too. That they just didn't tell Sarah Nicole, but she's like, I have no idea where it came from, you know. And it was all everything I heard was just Coco, who was already under suspicion. And yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where they were just telling her, you know, what they wanted her to hear, and
Yeah.
you know, and then we have Rhea and the red face.
Yeah. Yeah, Ria brings up. I've written a new theory. I don't know if it's new. Maybe she has already said this to people, but I think some of this was the first time in the episode I heard it. That she runs through her explanation of why it could be Omar, or why she's convinced it's Omar. She says, well, Ty, way back in episode one, Ty named Omar as a suspect on day one, mainly because of Omar's red face when Kareen revealed the selection twist. So, I mean, straight away to me, I'm thinking that really doesn't prove anything. I'm not going to listen to that. But
That's
she goes on
proof.
to,
That's hard evidence.
well, of course, yes, how silly of me. And she goes on to claim maybe that's why Ty was murdered, because Ty was putting Omar's name out there, and suggests that the gamers are sort of ganging up together to pick off the others one by one. And then she just keeps going. And she says, Kevin didn't aim an arrow at Coco. He threw a boomerang at who Coco was voting for. It's all a bit complicated. Even Hollywood steps in and is just like, stop. He says, I think you're giving Kevin way too much credit here.
I
Yeah.
love Hollywood there.
I
Hollywood's
mean,
great.
I mean, Omar makes the same face I do during this, and I screenshotted it, and I forgot to see if I could put it up here, but it's basically, huh?
Yes.
You know,
Very
because
confused.
yeah, it makes zero sense. You know, so Kevin put all his effort into trying to get Coco out and saying that they could vote for him if he was wrong, knowing that he was wrong because he wanted to protect Omer, who he had no way of knowing for sure Coco would actually vote for.
Yeah. I.
So this is a complete. I mean, this is like you know the meme of the guy on the
Oh,
cork
the
board
pinboard.
with the notes and the lines and the conspiracy theory look. This is real right now, you know, connecting
Yeah.
to, and here's the boomerang where it comes over here, and
And
Yeah,
I
but she's
think,
probably justifying. She's having to justify anything. She like it's hard to put people's name down and all that stuff. So she's trying to justify for herself what to do at this moment. And you know what? She's making good TV, so I kind of love it.
well, yeah,
well,
it's just watching it. It's like, huh?
yeah, I think Ria is just in sort of like she's gone down the rabbit hole. She's
Yes,
just going wild and would admit that herself. I think again, Ria is a listener to the pod, so hi Ria, and maybe will even join us at some point, perhaps. Uh, uh, so now Omar comes for Ria, and
she
not
won't
comes
after
for her,
that.
but
After what I just said, she'll be like,
oh
no, David,
no,
only now.
oh, Ria's got a good sense of humor, I can tell. Omar's sort of like shocked by this. I think he uses the term blindside and is like, I really shocked by you coming for me. Where has this come from? I've been defending you all day whenever, other people have
Yeah,
mentioned you as a suspect. I've been going out my way to say, I think you're a faithful. And there's a really funny moment here that made me laugh. Magiker, friend of the pod, on with us a lot, even sent me a message about this. Someone at this moment, and it might be Venus, I don't know who it is, Oh, Karine obviously starts to physically move around the room when she's ready to close the discussion, and
Oh,
someone just
yeah,
goes,
yeah, yeah.
"She's starting to walk. Does anyone have anything else?"
Yeah.
But Aaron, I think Aaron mentioned it on our season, like later, like a roundtable I wasn't at. So again, I was kind of surprised that they did that, but to s- they have to have a way to signal to everybody the roundtable is over. And so
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
they do it on like I've even noticed on UK, I think, is they have the host stay in one spot
mm,
for the roundtable. And then as soon as they start their walk, if they do one full round, that means that's over.
right,
So I think
right,
that's
okay,
the panic there is like
yeah.
you're told that but before we get to Lizette of it all, because I think we want to get there,
Oh yes.
I just want to shout out Shaughnessy. She handled this roundtable perfectly. For a little heat on her, she just said as much of the Newfie words she could, and I thought was her accent. Like I love her for that alone. Like I don't know if you noticed it, Matthew, like how much of an accent she has for
Oh yeah,
a
because for a
Canadian.
moment,
It's
yeah,
like
I thought she
really
was
strong Newfie accent.
Irish, and then I was like, oh no, she's not Irish. She's obviously just from that unique part of Canada. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So like I thought she handled this like to I mean she might have spoke more and then it just didn't get it, but like I thought for someone who had like the smallest amount of heat on her, we've seen people for less put themselves out there more and she handled this perfectly. So I want to give her a shout out for that because she just said what she needed to say in just her perfect accent and everybody fell in love with her and I think that's why she was good. This was a good round table for her overall.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, now we come to Lisette, who obviously is going to use this last opportunity to speak up about Chala. I am just sort of screaming at the screen, please drop this. Even Dom just lays his head down on the
Yes.
table. And I'm like, Lisette, no one is voting for Chala tonight. You're wasting your breath. And I get again that she's like, well, if we're saying like we have to say what we think, I might as well say. But like, come, like no one. There's no point. There's no point tonight.
Yeah.
Save it for another time.
It's Cedric level, just being as distracting faithful as possible.
Yeah.
It's keeping her alive in the game, but I remember I just know as a faithful, I'd be so annoyed by Lizette and be like, shut up.
Yeah.
Because no
Yeah,
one is gonna vote like no it's one of those things. Like if I'm saying Shaughnessy had one of the best roundtables by just naming what she needed to do and shutting up for the rest, that is such a good strategy there. Lizette did the I don't want to get murdered tonight strategy, which is I'm gonna be crazy at the last moment, so the traitors remember
yeah.
at the in the turret. No, I'm not gonna murder Lizette because she's crazy.
I, I still think that's giving her too much credit to call it a strategy, though. I think it's just her, and yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's funny when Coco's like, "Look, Omer and my games are on the line here, so let us finish."
Yeah. I know even Coco, who is potentially about to be banished, is like,
Yeah,
why are you bringing this up?
yeah,
Just, this is pointless. Um, and Lisette even says, well, it's because I don't think you or Omer are traitors. And I thought, oh, God, right, okay. Omer does finally get a little bit of time to squeeze in. He's like, why would I be going around defending so many faithful today, like Shaughnessy and Rhea? Like, if I was a traitor, wouldn't I just let other people take the hit? And Coco sort of gets in a little jab right at the end by saying, well, only a traitor would know who the faithful are, so maybe that's why you were doing that. And Karine stops them and says, enough. Um, in fact, and Dylan, I was going to ask you a question here, which you've kind of already answered. Like, I was wondering, how often are, like, is everything being fed to Karine through an earpiece, or how often are production crew stepping in and saying, okay, cut, now we're going to go to the vote? Like, how much interference is there? How much is it just Karine doing everything?
Like I mean, like I'm not Korean, so I don't know what's in her ear, but very little is like, I mean, for the first round table, they maybe handheld a lot more than they would.
Hmm.
Um, maybe I'll say it now because I don't really care because it's like the season. But for my round table, for when the traders were selected, Korean left, and then everybody got to speak, and then no one spoke about the death row. And so I asked production to restart the round table so I could talk about death row on purpose because I wanted to seem suspicious.
Okay.
Because I watch a lot of like reality TV, so I thought that would help me if I looked suspicious. So I actually restarted our roundtable for that, but that's like a very, very few times that ever happens, and like they really don't want that. And I think like before you're going to vote, like you already know how to do it. So like there's no reason for production to come in unless they need to change like a mic
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's, I will say like there's a long pause between each of the names being read that's cut. Like it's almost like it feels really long. It could be a 2 seconds, but when you're waiting for your name, you really have to think about what you're going to say
Mm.
and all that stuff. And like, and she takes out, she's, you know, it's a long pause and it's Dillon, and then you have to like say it, and then the next person goes up. So yeah, I'm probably saying way too much.
So, okay,
No.
here's the question for you because I noticed it this time. Do they, when you were in there, do they always go in clockwise order around the table? Because they did not in this roundtable for reading the votes.
Yeah, I was actually I noticed that as well. So they always went in clockwise rotation. So you stop like they should stop the round table. Everybody has like and it's just time to vote. So everybody grabs their little like placards and they have to like write their name on it. And then there's a pretty long pause. So I'm assuming they have angles of everybody like voting, and so they would know. So I'm assuming how it like I don't know this for sure, but I would assume that everybody knows how like the production would know how everybody has voted.
Yeah,
And
we
so
were told
at
by
that
another. We were told by another country's someone in another country that they literally sent a production person around to look at each slate.
yeah, they
So
don't do that. They don't do that in Canada, or at least they didn't do it in my season. They already know what you're voting.
yeah,
So I'm assuming that they go with the most dramatic version. So actually, because I watched the show so often, and I was a pretty big fan. I kind of always thought whoever got the first vote was not the one to, because I thought like the UK season two really loved to do this, where it would like they would start with like Matthew of like you were like the one, like they would have started tonight with Coco, and it's like, oh, it seems like Coco's definitely going to go, and then you could see they go away, and then it's like, oh, they went to someone else. But in
yeah.
this version, it seemed like they don't really need to have that tension of like, I guess it's going to go one way and it goes the other way, because they really bounced around, which I was surprised by.
Yeah, because I noticed it went, I mean, maybe it bounced around more, but the one I noticed was Dom is sitting next to Coco, but they
Yeah.
went Dom, then across the table to Natalie, and then back to Coco. And
That was a newer thing, I think, that they did this year. So maybe there must have been some reason that they did it, but I've always noticed them to go next person, like to the right or left, and you never know if it's going to be right or left.
okay.
Mm. So here are her votes. And of course, before the revealed, Venus is very torn about whether or not she should vote for her fellow traitor. We start off with Jamal, who votes for Omar, and he says, Omar, of course my vote's for you. And I thought maybe I've missed something. I just thought it was really funny. Of course, like there was no other option. Sarah Nicole votes for Coco. Maybe it was just obvious because of maybe Jamal had just made it clear who he was going to vote for in the discussion.
I don't think Jamal's getting much of an edit, to be honest. Like I barely noticed him on the show.
Yeah, I feel the same.
I mean, his edit to me is saying random crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like it just comes out of nowhere. Like he says something about someone and you're like, why is he bringing that up? Why is he saying that? You know?
Yeah. And therefore makes me think he's probably going to win.
Yeah.
He's probably going to make it all the way to the end. Sarah Nicole votes for Coco, as does Dom, Natalie, and Coco both vote for Omar. Rhea, it's time for her to vote, and she's like, says, I don't know what I'm thinking ever. And and she says, I don't know what I'm thinking right now. And I thought, Rhea, stop making yourself look like this. Obviously, she's a very informed person as she listens to this podcast. But Rhea, you must come on to tell us, why did you vote for Dom? What's going on? I can't understand it. This is crazy.
I mean, she even said it might look like this came out of left field. Might look like. There's no other explanation unless. Well, yeah. I feel like if there had been any discussion in the roundtable about Dom, we would have at least seen it in the extended version.
I don't think there was any discussion.
Yeah.
I think that honestly, I don't know what I thought it was a little bit like I need to put some heat on myself at that point. Like I didn't really understand her vote there, but I guess that she just didn't want to be the deciding vote for either Coco or Omar. That's the only reason I would think that she would have done that. But as a faithful, who cares? Like if as long as it's not you, also, like what does it matter?
Also, you just gave, and someone says this later, you just gave this whole speech about how it had to be Omer,
Yes.
which
Yeah,
apparently
and then
she wrote on her hand, according to what someone says later. But
yeah.
But then Coco also had writing on her hand too. So I wonder if that's a new thing that they're doing to help. One person must have started doing it, and then everybody's
Yeah.
like wanting to make a big speech, and it's just like, because you're not allowed to bring paper, obviously.
Mhm.
Like, so I wonder if that was one of the things, like someone did it on another round table, so
Well,
then that's why Coco did it as well. Yeah, so for me, I was just surprised that like the ink wouldn't just spill everywhere because of like how hot your hand is from being under
Yeah.
the pressure.
Yeah. Another reason why maybe Kevin couldn't stand last week because it's just so hot
Yeah.
in that room.
Yeah.
Like they can't have an air conditioner running when it's round table, right? So the room starts out colder and then it progressively gets more and more warm as cameras are bright and everything is like, the lights are bright and you personally are heated. You're not allowed to drink water because that's now meta that drinking water is evil behavior.
Yes, I'm so glad you reminded me, Dylan. I've had this here this whole time. This is my Traitors glass, which I mentioned on episode 3 of the pod, and I was like, oh, I have the same glasses they have. I'll bring it next time. Last time, David, this was here the entire time we recorded the podcast, and after we recorded, I was like, man, I forgot to lift up the glass. So, cheers to the mad votes on Traitors Canada. So, yes, the next vote takes it to a tie because it's Cara and she votes for Coco. So we have 3 each and one random vote for Dom, of course. Venus is next and votes for Coco, so has decided to potentially turn on turn on her and hoping that she goes. And this is where, and I think Dylan, maybe you were going to mention this. She's very conspicuously written Omer's name and put a big line through it so that she can look. I think, like, she could have just rubbed it out, erased it completely. But I think it's an attempt to look like she was really torn, and she just changed it at the last minute. So I don't really buy that. I think
So
that's
this is like, again, this is rinse and repeat of Netta's game because Netta did almost the exact same thing. I remember when it was Kirkland's, like at Kirkland's round table when he was banished, Netta took a while and like, I think even Karine was like, Netta, give her a vote. Like, you need to vote now. And I remember at the time being like, she's acting. Like, it's Kirk. Like, just vote for Kirkland. Who cares? Like, I didn't even vote for Kirkland, but I'm like, what do you care about Kirkland? But it was that idea of like needing to. That's where I think that like, I think people think it's faithful behavior to be like nervous about who you vote for. But I think it's actually traitor behavior not to be confident about who you're voting for. Because to me, it actually shows that you're hedging your bets a little bit more than a faithful would, because a faithful just has to just be blindly like, I think it's this person. But like what she was doing in that moment was saying to like, Coco, I'm sorry for voting for you. Clearly I wrote Omar, but I had to change my vote because everybody else is going to change your vote. So if Coco does go, oh my God, I was right. But then she says Omar because she's keeping that seed alive that it could be Omar going forward. So to me, I think it's acting, which is like people, I don't think it's become meta yet to think non-confidence in voting means traitor. I think it's still in meta seems like it's still faithful behavior. But how often do you see faithfuls humming and hawing for votes? It rarely happens.
Right. Yeah. And Matthew, this is another part that was cut from your version because it continues from the conversation that, what Omer had brought up, where she adds that she sees and supports Omer in his earlier comments about a Muslim man and a Jewish man.
Yes. Didn't have that here.
Right. It would have been very confusing for you if you had that and not any of the other stuff. But yeah,
absolutely. Lisette is next, and obviously votes for Chala. Hilarious. And Meredith then votes for Omar. It's still a tie. Chala takes a swipe at Lisette for hindering everyone, and then votes for Omar.
Yeah, this is great what Chala says, that, she says, they say that to Lisette, this vote is not for you, and I encourage you to stop wasting yours.
Right.
Because if you're not voting to move the needle forward, you're hindering progress.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is stuff that we've said, before as well.
Yes, and I'm sure Lisette will take no notice of that whatsoever.
No, because it's working for her.
Yes.
She has the de facto shield because of it.
Whether she means it or not.
Right.
Coco is next in votes for Omer, which means it's still a tie. But then the next three votes all come in for Omer. Shaughnessy, Hollywood, at which point Omer's gone, and Jericho also votes for Omer. So, yeah, I did not see this episode going this way. You know,
No.
at the end of episode 4, I was like, okay, just cut to Coco going home. Like, come on. So I'm sort of very surprised that this is how it's gone down. Omer stands to give his speech and says, I came here wanting to play the most cutthroat and the most strategic game of traitors of all time. I didn't expect to fall in love with all of you, so I played a very traitorous but faithful game. And off he goes. Lisette immediately jumps in to kind of like kick everyone when they're down and saying, well,
Yes.
no one ever wants to vote based on information, which is hilariously ironic. And Meredith even has to just be like, please stop right now. Like, this not the time. Not the time. And she does stop. Omar in his confessional saying, I really liked Omar's, he didn't, you know, I thought it was quite cool of him to just be like, you know what, Coco, you're probably a traitor, and actually now I want you to win. So I thought that was really cool of him to just be like, hey, it's a game, you beat me in this round table, good on you, like, well done. So, yeah, no, he didn't seem like bitter about it, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the right attitude to have, though. That's like, because I think that the traitors ultimately is like about like deceiving people. So if you're mad at someone for deceiving, like you're mad at them for playing the game.
Sure.
Like that's like I think when I had my cast reveal or my traitor reveal, I was like, I love Netta, and I was like having fun with it because like you're out. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, shame on Coco for playing the game. And
Right.
so like I think he understood how the game works.
We have a little moment of Sarah Nicole in her confessional. She's going to avenge him, which made me laugh. And Natalie's in tears. Like, Natalie hasn't really featured much in this episode, but is so affected by this and is saying, she says, I'm sorry, Omar. It's Rhea,
Yes.
which made me laugh. I was
Okay,
like,
but sorry, to go over the logistics of that, I was actually surprised at how much she was crying because you have to think round table's over. There's a big wait for you to get into like the manor and to reality back again. And then on top of that, you have to wait for you to get called up to go to confessional. And you're already having many conversations about what's happening next, or maybe it's right happening round table. So there's like so many things that have to happen. And like an hour and a half, like logistically, like later, you're like now like in full tears. I was like, Natalie, maybe you were an actor. Like that's really good. Like I mean,
yes.
these people come way closer than you think, and like you do get way more emotional than you did. And I fake cried a lot, or I like cried when I knew I didn't have to, but I knew I could because of emotions are heightened. But there's so many steps for you to get to confessional that I was like, wow, like. Okay, good on you, Natalie. Like you're actually feeling like fatigued by this game.
Yeah, still at that emotional high or low. We've got Jericho saying, he's like, what? He doesn't say, I've written WTF. He doesn't say that, but he's just like, what happened to our drinking water code? Like, Rhea, she voted Dom. Natalie's still having this sort of rage meltdown. And Jericho's confronts Rhea. He's like, "What the hell were you thinking?" And then she's in tears. He doesn't really. It's quite chaotic. He's like, "I put my trust in you. You convinced me to go for Omar. You took the drink. Yeah, you voted for Dom." And she's sort of relentlessly apologizing. I think it looks like by the end of it, he's like, "Okay, fine." I mean, I don't know if he's just saying that to end the conversation, but
I think he is at this point. But
yeah.
Did you see the scene of Hollywood telling Coco not to blame herself for that exit?
Oh no, I don't think
Okay, so yeah, Hollywood's like, yeah, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's actually totally her fault. Now, you may not know that, but yeah, it is totally her fault that, this exit. So I thought that was funny. And then of course, more of the, people are spreading the Rhea idea. And then after the Jericho and Rhea conversation, Jamal pops up and says they have a box unchecked and they need to follow up what Kevin said and get out Coco. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, after all your crazy
No.
stuff you said before, now you're saying this.
Yeah.
Just on the Hollywood thing, though, I was actually like interested by it because if the Traitors is about deceit, it's also really about relationship building and making sure you have good relationships with everybody. Because like famously for me, I didn't really know Michael John at all when we played for 5 days in a row, and I didn't talk to him at all because I didn't really want to get to know him, but that ended up blowing up my game. And Hollywood is like just such a people pleaser, such like a nice person that no one has ever said anything bad about him. He's basically saying like to Rhea, shut up, and like be like, yeah, okay, yeah, like that makes fair. So I think like I don't know if he's consciously doing it, but like his relationship building is such an undervalued thing in this game that like I think Hollywood would go far because of how good he is about doing relationships.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to me to see, does Hollywood's relationship building hurt him or help him in the end? Because at some point, anything you do good in this game gets flipped around. You know, and at some point, maybe a couple weeks from now, someone's going to say, have you noticed that Hollywood is friends with everyone? And wouldn't that be a great traitor strategy to be friends with everyone? So
yeah.
Good. I imagine Hollywood has enough gumption to sort of throw that off and be like, I'm just a nice person. How dare you?
Well, I can't wait for that round table. So that's going to be a really fun one.
Yeah, it will be. We finished the episode of the turret. I thought, oh God, this is going to be really awkward. It kind of isn't. Coco, I think, just absolutely gets why Venus voted for her. Like, she's not mad about it. She even, it says several times, she's like, I know I'm not going to make it to the end now. But she's, I guess like Omer, is sort of just like, it's a game. Actually, I want Venus to go all the way. So I was quite surprised by that in a nice way. And Venus even immediately begins sort of explaining, here's why I had to vote for it. And Coco's just like, it's fine. I get it. You don't have to explain. And Venus is... I think pretending to convince Coco, we can work together and we'll figure a way out of this. Like, I think they both know it's not going to happen. It's not real.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if you're Venus, you kind of do want Coco to go further, because the further Coco goes,
the more of a
likely,
shield it kind of is to you. I guess.
Right, exactly. When they do want to get a definite traitor, they go after her and not Venus.
Yeah. That's true.
And also for Venus, who are you going to recruit? Like, that's like, she keeps on saying like, well, if Coco's gone, I get to recruit who I want. Right. Sometimes that's not always good about who you can recruit, because like for my situation, or like for like, I'm trying to think like who would be beneficial to recruit is maybe Chala, but then do Venus and Chala even know each other? And like, can they trust each other? And then do you recruit someone like Dom, who's quiet and like very quiet confidence, but also is close with you? Because I'm assuming they seem to be close, considering they're locking arms in a challenge. But then it's like, can you really betray someone like Dom to take it so far?
They discuss murder versus recruitment. Venus suggests most of this is just focused on Rhea. Like, there's really not anyone else who comes into it. Venus suggests recruiting Rhea because, well, now she's got some suspicion on her, especially after that strange vote for Dom. And even those who aren't suspicious of her think she's an unhelpful faithful, so may just vote her out for that reason. And Coco says, but if I get eliminated, you'll be stuck in here with Rhea. I thought, oh, poor Rhea. Venus just sort of sticks with it, and Coco accepts, okay, we could try it and then maybe turn everyone on Rhea tomorrow. Is that what we're going to do? And briefly, Coco suggests... Yes, on you go.
I think in the end, Coco was trying to, like... I think Coco had already decided it's going to be murder, and she's not bringing another person that to it because she's not dealing with it. Like, I think Coco's set with, like, if I'm going to play this game where Venus is my ride or die, even if it's not true, but I have to play like that, I think bringing another person that to it just means that now it's 2 against 1. That's even worse for me. So I really think that she was trying to be like, I don't know, we can do recruitment or murder, but like, if you recruit, you're stuck with her. So I think it's like one of those things where she knows if she brings someone else into that turret, that it's over for like it's just two against one.
Whatever they decide, they write something on their paper. We
Yes.
will not know until next time because that is where our episode ends. Let's talk about our predictions then. But am I reading things wrong to think surely they're going to try and recruit, right? Like there was just no indication of you, Dylan. You look like you think the opposite. I just thought because there was no discussion about murder whatsoever. I thought, all right, that if they're not showing us them talking about murder, they're not going to murder. So I just thought, yeah, they're going to try and recruit Rhea, and I think Rhea's going to reject it. That's my prediction.
Ooh. I I think they're going to try to recruit Rhea also. Um, I think Rhea is enough of a fan of the game that she would accept it.
Okay, okay.
Because even if you reject it, that doesn't stop them from turning on you. So you might as well accept it at that point.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
Coco
just
for sure. Yeah, I think Coco's trying to bake this cake as best as possible to have Rhea be murdered. But I
yeah.
don't get the strategy behind it. And knowing how Coco's like 7 steps ahead of me, and I'm watching at home, not having to worry. So maybe Coco's correct, but I thought this is for sure. Sadly, because I love her TV that she's given is Rhea's last night in the manor.
Okay, okay. I think I'm just sort of remembering Rhea describing herself saying, I don't even know what I'm thinking ever. So I'm just sort of picturing Rhea being offered recruitment and just being like blankly like, I don't know what the hell to do. I'll just say no. Like because she's panicking. I don't know. What
That
about looking
prediction
ahead?
of panic worked so well for you last week.
Yeah, it didn't really, did it? But well. If I stick with it one time, it'll hit. What about next banishment? Is it? I'm just gonna go with the obvious and say it's Coco is getting
Me too.
banished next.
Yep.
Is there any other way out of it for Coco?
Well, sorry, if we're going to talk about a little spoiler, the like next on the Traitors,
Oh yes,
there's
yes,
a big
yes.
celebration. So it seems like a traitor is picked. So
Yes.
maybe you are right, and Rhea is recruited, and they somehow get, you know, Rhea, kicked off, and
Banished.
then it's
Yeah.
like Coco's got a little less on her, but it also just could be that Rhea's murdered and Coco goes.
Yeah. It's
But who knows?
David. I don't know if you watched the preview.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked to
It-
me like we see like Sarah Nicole and Meredith at the round table jumping up, screaming. I thought
Right.
surely that's celebration of a traitor being
It
banished, and there's
sure looked that way. I can't. I mean, I would hope.
unless
I
someone
would
like
hope that production would not be, well, not production. It's the channel that does the previews usually, not
yeah,
production. But I would hope they would not be so dumb as to do that. I can't imagine what else they're celebrating unless it's like, woohoo, there's no murder today. There was, I
yeah,
mean,
That could be it. That could be
you know,
because if there is a traitor going home, then it could be like them celebrating that their recruitment's going to be happening tonight.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's a shot of Jamal as well with this like really shocked expression on his face. So I'm like, yeah, maybe does someone just say something nuts? Like, I even wondered, does Coco just say, "Look, guys, I'm just going to tell you I'm a traitor," or like something crazy happens, and they're all like, "What the heck?" So
Yeah, but they wouldn't jump out of their chairs there. Kareen would come down on them so hard if they did that.
I guess
You are to sit
I
in your chairs. You know?
I mentioned earlier that we had a listener question from Tony. So Tony emailed to ask, in the castle, well, he says in the castle where the show was made, but then says in any of the country versions, so the manors, the mansions, it seems this is a kind of a production question. So Dylan, you're the perfect person to have. It seems the interior is set up on top of the existing rooms as the design looks odd given the historical nature of the outside. Maybe this doesn't apply as much to the Canadian setting. Basically, Tony's asking, like, how fake are the sets? Like, is it all exactly as the house is? Or he says similar question about where the round table's set up. Like, is that just a temporary building outside of the house? Is it actually a room in the manor? Like, how much of the interior is real or how much is built on top of existing building, I guess?
How to answer this without removing or like making it TV magic go away? Um, okay, I'll say this. Um, I don't know any rooms that I can think of that I've been in that have a giant 20-foot round table in it that can fit it. So, unless you've been in a room with a giant, round table in it with suns and moons on it, um, it's it
Okay.
might be another space that is taken over to do that. And then,
Okay.
they have to put cameras everywhere, they have to put lights everywhere, everything's lit really well, everything, is shot from multiple angles. Because if you're in time where you can talk about game and they miss it, that's really bad.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cameras throughout the place. And so unless you have that many cameras in your house normally, which I'd be very surprised by, and unless you also, when you're outside of your house, have drones going on and multiple people with cameras, um, uh, then it's your house. If you don't have those things, then it would look nothing like your house. I guess all
Uh,
I'll add is that all these spaces, like, nothing is unseeable on Google Images. And so if
okay.
you were able to find out where they're filmed, you can go to Google Images and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
There we go.
We're not in North Korea. There's satellites.
Thank you for your email, Tony. There are other questions and comments all over YouTube from our listeners. We don't have time to get into everything, but head to YouTube, check out the comments, all sorts of opinions and thoughts and questions and theories going on there that you can get involved in. Before we wrap up, any sort of final thoughts on the episode? Any overall opinions? David, you're nodding. I know you have overall thoughts. Hit us with them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Omer because I really believe that Kevin did not only blow up his own game, and we talked about him blowing up Coco's, but he blew up Omer's too.
Mm,
Obviously unintentionally, but he did. But his goal was to blow up Coco's. It was not to blow up Omer's.
yeah.
And, he was more or less an innocent bystander. Now, he is not the first nor the last bystander to get taken out in the Traitors. Obviously, it has not happened between actual friends before. So that makes it a little bit strange. But yeah, so I felt bad for Omer that, he came here to play a game and then Kevin went kind of crazy and unhinged himself and undid his own game and Omer's game and probably Coco's game as well.
Yes.
The other thing is, I have no idea what Rhea is doing. And
She's
Rhea,
making good TV.
she's making good TV, but I, I think it's worse to make illogical and seemingly irrational moves than it is to be forcefully wrong about something, especially when you're directing other players to follow your lead. I just don't understand what she was thinking. It's like, I'm telling everyone all the things that tell me that Omer is definitely a traitor, and now I'm going to vote for someone completely random. The only thing I can think of is that after, because I don't remember the exact order everything came in, but I believe she said everything about Omer before he talked about himself, the part that was cut for you, Matthew, that, before he talked about that, and maybe that did hit her, and she saw the emotion of it, and she saw, okay, I can't vote for him now after this revelation. But I also, like you said, Dillon, I can't say why I'm not voting for him because I don't even know that that's going to be aired. So
Yeah.
I'll just make up some other reason and vote for Dom, who I know is in no danger.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's happening.
David, are you saying that you think Lisa is playing a better game than Rhea?
God, no.
Okay, just checking. Dylan, any final thoughts on the episode? Anything you were desperate to say but haven't had the chance to say yet?
I love this cast. I think it's a great, great season of The Traitors so far. Everything has been like super good. I think the traitor choices were excellent. I think Coco's been an amazing and a very unique kind of style of doing traitor, and I'm just so happy that they're all doing well. And like even like the ones that are gone, like I'm thinking like Curtis or Mackenzie or Kitten. I think they would have also been just as good as the other people. So whoever put this house together, this manner of all these guests, that's an amazing chef's kiss.
Yes. My controversial final takeaway is that I will, not that I'm being a conspiracy theorist, I'll be very, very surprised if a traitor wins again, and it's 3 consecutive seasons in a row with a traitor win. So I'm just going to call right now. I think we're going to see a faithful win. Uh, Not that I'm suggesting it's being, you know, interfered with by production. I just think it would be very surprising.
Never would happen.
No. David and Dillon. David, first of all, could you please tell us where we can find you online? How can we follow all the shows that you're covering?
Yeah, you can find me all over the place. Of course, every week right here. But in addition to that, every week I talk about why the Survivor 49 players were voted out in the Why Blank Lost series on RHAP. That's our 10th anniversary season of that podcast. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, I have TikTok and YouTube videos for Survivor and the Traitors Canada and Squid Game The Challenge, which just wrapped up last night, where I am at David Bloomberg TV on the video sites, or you can just find everything at Linktree/David Bloomberg.
And I'll put that episode that in the episode description below. Well, I always do. It's always there. And Dylan, how can people find you online?
If you want to find me, you can probably find me on Instagram at DZ McGee. But I post a lot of non-trade related content, so you won't get trade related content there.
Well, that's fine. People might just want to, know more about you. And I'll put the link to Dylan's Instagram below as well. To make sure that you're up to date with the podcast and Traitors news and updates, sometimes little videos from me, you can follow on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at the Traidar Podcast. And you can DM me there, put comments. You can email me your thoughts and questions at thetraidarpodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your questions and thoughts that we can discuss. And you can leave a voice note so you can be heard on the podcast at memo.fm/thetraidarpodcast. And wherever you're listening, it's really great if you can subscribe, follow, leave a nice review, all of those things. If you want to support the podcast, there are a couple of things you could do. You could visit thetraidar.redbubble.com if you want some Traidar merch, like my lovely t-shirt. Or if you want to just chip in with a little one-off donation, you could visit the ko-fi.com page. That's ko-fi.com/Matthew Keeley. And I have to say thank you to Goose. Goose has given us a lovely donation, and Goose has donated before because that name Goose has stuck in my mind and I couldn't possibly forget that. So thank you, Goose, whoever you are. And thank you to David and Dylan for joining me today. That's been a really, really great fun. Thank you so much, Dylan. It's great getting your insight. As someone who was on the show, you've been able to answer things that we wouldn't have otherwise known. Thank you, listeners. You're welcome. David and I will be back to cover episode 6 next week. And I have also just interviewed Sam Watts, the composer of the iconic Traitors music. So look out for that within the next day or two as well. Until then, later, Traitors.
And stay traitorous.